Hey up everyone. Today the rally begins properly and we have a loop around Yanbu with a long fast special. The first part is rocks and hard-packed earth with a little room for navigation errors. The second is into the sand. A few dunes, but they are scattered. The section is about speed. We found out overnight that Neil Sterrick's problem was electrical failure, and my heart goes out to him. Seeing him push the bike home showed what a giant this man is, both physically and mentally. Pushing a rally bike in full gear for 2 kilometres through the sand is an almighty effort, and he deserves a Rider of the Day award even though he came in last. Fingers crossed that he has an easier time now. This shows however good your preparations are, Dakar can bite. It was Mohamed Al-Balushi and Lorenzo Santolino who went out into the desert first today. They were followed by Nacho Cornejo, Mason Klein and Bradley Cox, Stefan Svitko, Michael Minchek and Skylar Howes. Nacho was the one making up time on the leaders on the Hero, and by the 70-kilometre point he was collecting bonus points too. It was Sanders, Branch and Canet who were fastest, but there was a long fast run ahead. Martin Minchek was holding on to the top 10 spot on the Hoto, but Nacho was the one climbing forward. He was in 20th place last night, but was up to 16th on the stage and 14th overall. Emmanuel Guillen was top in the Malimoto, but Jerome Martini was close behind. Mason Klein had an unscheduled stop for a few minutes but got back on the move pretty quickly, and I have no real details, but while we are talking Mason, there are lots of discussions about the Hoto, and specifically the engine. I first heard at EICMA that they were trialling the new Zongshen engine, but they have used the KTM engine in the past. Then I got the info that they were working with Covey on the Dakar engine, and then a very specific message from a friend of Mason's who said Mason had said point blank that the engine was not a KTM. That was the subject wrapped up, but now there seems a lot of conjecture again, and to be honest, despite everyone being sure they are right, I will honestly admit that I don't think many people can be sure and that they are not saying much. Whatever the engine, we will see how it stands up. Whatever the problem was, it put him behind the leaders playing catch-up, and he was losing time with every sector. He also has a 2-minute time penalty to add at the end, so things weren't looking great. By the time the leaders reached the 108-kilometre mark, Ross Branch had taken the lead, but was just 18 seconds ahead of Daniel Sanders, with Edgar Canet 45 seconds behind them. By the 150-kilometre waypoint, Hero was still in the number 1 slot, followed by the 2 KTMs of Sanders and Canet, with Ricky Brabeck poised in 4th on the Honda. It was still Nacho gaining places though, and he had jumped up to 7th in the overall standings. Martin Minchek and Tobias Ebster were locked together in 13th and 14th place, now ahead of Skylar Howes, but behind a marauding pack of Rally 2 riders led by Michael Doherty, with Martin Ventura, Conrad Dabrowski and Preston Campbell following him. Ross Branch had stretched his lead to over a minute by the 180-kilometre waypoint. Daniel Sanders was closest, 1 minute and 3 seconds back, with Edgar Canet 1 minute 14 behind, and Ricky Brabeck 1 minute 26 behind Branch. 260 kilometres in, it was Edgar Canet who was the closest to Branch, just 1 minute and 13 seconds behind. Sanders had dropped to 3rd, but with just 15 seconds separating the KTMs, there was nothing in it. Brabeck was watching in 4th, and Tosha Shirena was catching them, so the Honda pack was reforming, with Van Beveren in 7th chasing down Luciano Benavides. But that was on the stage. Overall, Cornejo had passed Van Beveren. Nacho Cornejo has been out on his own most of the day. After passing Lorenzo Santolini, he crossed the finish line first, followed by his Bradley Cox, but the leaders were yet to come through. When they did, it was Branch on the Hero who was on the top step. He was announced as provisional winner on stage 1 and current leader in the rally, but then came an announcement. Branch may have broken one of the speed limits during the stage, and it could potentially have cost him up to 6 minutes in time penalties. Then the announcement came again. Ross Branch was the fastest man on the 305km special, but a 6-minute penalty for speeding had cost him victory. The stage podium was a carbon copy of the prologue results, just with wider margins. Edgar Canet was 1 minute 2 seconds ahead of KTM teammate Daniel Sanders and 1 minute 32 seconds ahead of Ricky Berrybeck. Edgar Canet, Rally 2 champion last year, followed up his prologue win in Yambu with another blistering ride. Branch's penalties pushed him down to 7th behind teammate Nacho Cornejo and the KTM of Benavides, and they were all neck and neck, split by just 2 seconds after all adjustments. Tosha Shirena in 4th was closer to teammate Ricky Brabeck, and they had stretched out the gap back to the KTM of Benavides and the two heroes. In Rally 2, Michael Doherty claimed his 11th stage win in the class on his KTM, beating rookie Martin Ventura on the new HRC Rally 2 Honda. Ventura had spent most of the stage in the lead, but came up short in the final chase to the line, finishing 1 minute and 28 seconds behind Doherty. Konrad Dabrowski came in 3rd, 3 minutes and 49 seconds behind Doherty, and then we had Tobias Ebster on the Rally 2 hero, followed by Mathieu Devesi and Tony Malek, giving KTM 4 out of the top 6 places again. Emmanuel Guillen is still in the top spot on the Malay Moto, followed by Benjamin Mello, Jerome Martini and Javi Vega in 4th on the Cove. All the results are shown in the slides, but I think we can say that it was a better day for Cove and a great start to the rally for Hero. Ross Branch undoubtedly has the ability to win, and the Kalahari Ferrari will be better placed to break the bonds of the red and orange bikes if he has his teammates close by, but I'm sure he won't be pleased that Nacho Cornejo is now the top-placed Hero rider. Martin Micek is down to 15th on the top-placed Auto, with Bradley Cox in 16th on the lead Sherco. With penalties and delays, unfortunately, Mason Klein is down to 40th position overall, 50 minutes behind the leader, but there is a long way to go. This year, we effectively have 2 marathon stages, one of which looks absolutely brutal, so a lot can happen on any one of the many days to come. Javi Vega on the Malimoto Cove is in a fantastic 35th position overall and 22nd in Rally 2. But if he can climb ahead of Jerome Martini in the Malimoto, then it would give Cove that podium place they have been looking for. So who knows? A lot can change very quickly in the desert. Thanks for listening. Do try to share the commentary anywhere you think people will be interested, because YouTube aren't being kind again. But nothing new there. I will keep you posted as the rally continues on. Here's hoping the Hero can steal the show and keep the pack of Hondas and KTMs in their wake. And anyone taking bets against what Neil Sterick can do is a daft man in my opinion. Hope you enjoyed the commentary. Thanks as always, and I will try and get some decent footage of the bikes upon Rumble, but it will only be accessible via the Ko-fi group, which is linked in the description and on the channel homepage, and I'm making no promises. Have a great night, and Radio Dakar will be back tomorrow.